Shen Xiang held his son, Shen Jinhua, by his collar, and worriedly shaking his son's vegetative body, asked if he was all right. Shen Jinhua's father Mama Bear's love action looked more like an interrogation than fatherly love. Shen Jinhua muttered weakly for his father to stop shaking him before his bones fell apart. Shen Xiang, not happy with his son's state of situation, asked Shen Xiang what was the meaning of him beating his son to this state. Grabbing his son's back collar like a handbag and pointing towards Shen Xiang, voiced how Shen family could have a vicious person as him, regardless of clan's brotherhood. He had seriously injured his son. Shen Xiang in defense replied, Shen Jinhua, every move was a killing move, asking whether Shen Jinhua had concern for his life. It was not a life-concerning Tianjiang slashing axe attacks. Shen Xiang, out of the clan's friendship, did not consider to return the same intentions. Shen Jinhua's mother, shedding tears and crying, kneeled and begged one of the elders, who was like a dwarf, asking him to intervene, also trying to gather the crowd's sympathy, exclaiming that Shen Xiang should be punished for injuring her son. Some sections from the crowd voiced in agreement. Shen Tianhu, the protagonist's father, also did not remain quiet and answered backlashed that it was Shen Jinhua who was inferiority to others, despite Shen Jinhua's secretly cultivating a spiritual technique, which was against the family's rule, was defeated, making her matter. The tension intensified and escalating to crowds from both sides fighting. The elder in disbelief touched his own head in tension. Someone from back commented that the current Shen family was a mess. A stranger with long hat in an aggressive way said, how a family with such mess and meager qualification covet Shui family, categorizing them as unworthy. Shen Xiang, while grabbing someone from the crowd in a fight and unable to stand the criticism, angrily asked for the stranger's identity and admonished his rudeness and disregard for the Shen family. Shen Xiang stood at the stage, and his father, Shen Tianhu, standing before his son with indifference, looked and examined the stranger, noticing his family emblem by his waist, questioned if the stranger was from Wohu Yao family. The stranger, without answering, spoke up, saying that, on behalf of the Yao family, he had a message for Shen Xiang. With loud and arrogant tone, advised Shen Xiang to break off the engagement with Miss Shui Xianxian from the Shui family as early as possible. Shen Xiang responded in annoyance whether it was really the turn of the Yao family to judge his marriage with Xianxian, referring to the proposer as the Yao family's dog. The Yao family messenger, in contempt, threw a sword before Shen Xiang, making the sword lodge deep inside the ground. The messenger then added that was a reminder, and asked the protagonist not to blame him for being rude if he speaks out of turn again, continuing that the request to break off the engagement was not only from Yao's family, but also from Shui family, adding that the Shui family believes that only the young master from the Yao's family, Yao Tianhua, can be matched with Shui Xianxian and not sore loser like the protagonist. The Shen family members stood and frowned in anger at the impudence of the messenger. Some individuals from the crowd murmured the name Yao Tianhua as being the genius alchemist from the Yao's family. Another added that Yao Tianhua, at the age of 16, was already able to refine mid-mortal grade pills. Thus it was no wonder that the Shui family wanted to renounce the marriage, others sighing that the Shui families were someone who doesn't keep their words. The protagonist, unfazed, questioned if the Shui family wanted to renounce the marriage, why didn't they send someone to say it? The messenger retorted back that it was because of the protagonist, Shen Xiang, and he wasn't able to grasp why the Shui family's beautiful and charming daughter sees in a waste like him that made her determined not to withdraw from the marriage. The protagonist thought and reflected that, just as he had thought there was no way Xianxian would propose to withdraw from the marriage, the protagonist loudly proclaimed since Xianxian refused to withdraw, he too would refuse. The messenger, unable to make the protagonist withdraw, proposed that he would let the protagonist take his initiative to withdraw from marriage to save his own face so that he doesn't embarrass himself, and then added if the protagonist didn't want to withdraw, he can have a competition with the young master of the Yao's family. And leaving the deciding factor on the result, the messenger also added, whatever small remaining honor the protagonist had will be lost in front of the three families. Some groups from crowd questioned if he wanted Shen Xiang to compete in the alchemy with Yao Tianhua. The protagonist calmly but nonchalantly replied that he accepted the challenge and left it to the Yao family to decide whether the competition would be held in alchemy or the martial arts, leaving both Shen Xianhua and his father gasping with shock. Both the father and son argued whether Shen Xiang was stupid, as Shen Xiang had only just refined mortal-level pill in alchemy, whereas Yao Tianhua experience in alchemy far surpasses him by a gap of more than 10 years, adding that if he lose, not only his honor, but the honor of the entire Shen family would be lost. Shen Xiang, with eyes closed and imagining Xian standing behind him, with strong resolve, responded that like Xian never gave up on him, he too shall never give up on her, and that he would win no matter the situation. The messenger, in a mocking and condescending tone, called the protagonist as an ungrateful little brat. Then, he proceeded to leave while telling the protagonist that he will be notified on the date for competition. Shen Xiang stood, pulling out the sword, as the messenger was leaving, asked him to halt, and with a swing threw the sword towards the messenger. Though the sword was supposed to miss and land before the messenger, it left a small wound on the messenger's face. The messenger stood with shock. The protagonist, unfazed, told the messenger to take away the Yao family's stuff and not to dirty their Shen family's courtyard. The messenger, after coming to his senses, was enraged, calling the protagonist as a bastard, and that the protagonist didn't know how to behave. With clenched fists jumped towards Shen Xiang. As he attacked Shen Xiang, saying that he would kill him on behalf of his young master, the protagonist managed to block and was pushed back by the impact. The messenger proceeded to continue his attack out of nowhere. He sensed some intense aura besides him. As he glanced towards the side, he was terrified. It was Shen Tianhu, emitting blue lightning aura and clenched fist, jumped and landed between them, making the ground crack on impact. Shen Tianhu then reprimanded that as a Deccan in the Shen family, his arrogant behavior at the Shen family's territory was crossing the limit, and if he thought that the Shen family didn't have anyone that could stop him, continuing in anger warned, even if he or the Shen's family kills him, the Yao's family wouldn't stand up for him. The messenger, upon realization, was terrified, hurriedly left to save his own skin, while saying that everything will be decided on the competition stage. After watching the messenger leave, Shen Tianhu turned to his son, wanting to ask if he was all right. Shen Xiang claimed that he was fine. Shen Tianhu, then turning towards the elders, suggested that they all accept Shen Xiang, and Shen Xiang would help Shen Xianhua recover by refining pills to help him recover, but also no longer pursue the matter regarding privately teaching spirit-level technique. Turning to an elder called Pai, asked for his confirmation. The elder, shocked and with the sweats of guilt, chuckled and agreed, concluding that after all they were all family members. After the incident, the new patriarch's second selection continued, and Shen Xiang had also started a special cultivation session in the mountains. At the waterfall, Shen Xiang recollected the teachings of Su Meo for symbols of divine art, which contained the 4 qi of the azure dragon, white tiger, vermilion, and black tortoise. Shen Xiang began his practice. A shadow of the tiger appeared above him. While he practiced meticulously, Shen Xiang noted that the tiger qi had begun to take effect, though not as smooth as harnessing the azure dragon qi. While on the other hand, Shen Tianhu also made great strides, defeating one competitor after another, and proceeding to rank up. Finally, the last day for selection arrived. Shen Tianhu and Shen Haohai faced each other.